Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, I welcome you all to our day 9 of our 21 days Śrīmad Bhāgavatam reading challenge. And the teacher for today is His Holiness Yadunandan Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj has graciously joined the session. So, before we begin, I would just like to give a quick introduction about Maharaj. Yes, so dear devotees, Maharaj is the principal of Bhakti Vedanta College in Belgium. He is a disciple of His Holiness Sir Surup Das Goswami Maharaj, and Maharaj accepted his renounced order of life in 2009, and since then he has been dedicatedly preaching and teaching the philosophy of Bhakti Yoga. Maharaj has also been actively involved in the Vaishnava training and education system, and he helps developing structured programs for studying the scriptures in ISKCON communities worldwide. And Maharaj, through his scholarly yet accessible presentation, he explains the universal principles of Bhagavad Dharma very nicely. So it is a great fortune, Maharaj, that you have graciously joined the session and you have kindly taken up this session, Maharaj. So I would like you to take over, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Maharaj, you are on mute. Hi Krishna Maharaj.
Maharaj, you're muted. Kindly unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was expressing my gratitude for inviting me to today's program, and to His Grace Raj Sundar Prabhu as the director of Vedavarsity, and to the whole team of Vedavarsity and all the assembled devotees who are joining us. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashta Prajeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram. So the topic I have been requested to discuss is understanding the principles of Bhagavad Dharma, and the verses we will be reading is from the 6th canto, chapter 3 of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, verses 20-21, that reveals to us who are the 12 authorities in Bhagavad Dharma, those who really know Bhagavad Dharma. And of course, those who will surrender to these authorities in the cyclic succession, then naturally will also be able to understand what is Bhagavad Dharma, even though it is a very difficult, very subtle subject matter. Like, for instance, there are many doctors, but how many are specialized surgeons in very difficult surgical operation? So similarly, there may be many people who know something about Dharma, but those who really know Dharma, that's very extraordinary. And this is explained in these verses. Svayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Bhishmo Valirvayasakir Vayam Dwadashaite Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bhataha Uhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Yatva Mrittamashnute. Srila Prabhupada's translation, and we will discuss the purport as well. We will read and discuss. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Svayambhuva Manu, Prahlada Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami, and I myself, it is Yamaraj speaking, the Lord of Dharma and also the Lord of Death. And I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavata Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada's purport, we will read and discuss a little bit. The context of the verse, this is the 6th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Srila Prabhupada explains in the beginning, is concerned with Poshana, or the protection that the Lord awards to His devotees. Today is the most auspicious day of Lord Ramachandra's appearance. This morning we were reading a verse from the 5th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, a prayer offered by Sri Hanuman and the inhabitants of Kimpurusha Varsha. And Sri Hanuman was explaining how the Lord gives mercy to all His devotees, and how Lord Ramachandra arranged that all the inhabitants of Ayodhya went back home, back to Godhead. So this is the Lord's great mercy. The Lord is very, very kind. So the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, even though according to Srila Jiva Goswami, all the 10 topics of the Bhagavatam are found throughout the whole Bhagavatam, but particularly we find many narratives about Poshanam, or the protection that the Lord awards to his devotees, to those souls who surrender unto him. So that's the context. So in the beginning of the canto, in the first chapter, Sri Shukadeva Goswami is discussing with Maharaj Parikshit, and Maharaj Parikshit poses a question, particularly expressing concern with the conditioned souls who suffer in this material world. Like, for instance, we see there are so many conflicts, so many wars, so many social problems, family problems. We find even in India is Punya Bhumi, but we see so many problems are there, isn't it? So in the end of the fifth canto, Shukadeva Goswami has narrated the suffering of very sinful people experience in hellish planets. So hellish conditions, whether we experience them in hellish planets or we do experience them in this planet, sometimes the third canto of the Bhagavatam explains that in this world we also experience sufferings of hell, and this is an indication that hell does exist. It is not just imagination or mythology of some contemporary people state. So Parikshit Maharaj wants to Shukadeva Goswami, he's asking for a formula that will end with material suffering for good and will bring the person to a real pure condition of life. And Shukadeva Goswami explains how there are different processes that we find in the Vedas. These processes could be referred as dharma conventionally, but the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is very specific about what true dharma is. True dharma means full surrender to Sri Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ends begins where Bhagavad Gita ends. So Bhagavad Gita is giving a gradual process for elevation of people, and an important topic in Bhagavad Gita is what is dharma? To fight or not to fight? To be or not to be, like Shakespeare will say. It's difficult what to do in such an extreme situation where you have to fight your dearmost people who are very eager to fight you. So finally, after describing different processes of elevation, karma yoga, jnana yoga, of course, even before that, the process of yajna, sacrifices for gradual elevation in order to become established in karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and coming to the point of Bhakti Yoga, the Lord comes to the greatest secret. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about this in the purport to today's verse. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to Bhagavata Dharma as the most confidential religious principle. Sarva guhyatamam, guhyat guhyataram. Krishna says to Arjuna because you are my dear friend, my very dear friend. I'm explaining to you the most confidential religion. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. The Lord has stated this is the paramam vacha, or the ultimate instruction. One may ask if this principle is very rarely understood. What is the use of it? In answer, Yamaraj states herein that this religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, and the other standard authorities. There are 4 lines of disciplic succession, one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, one from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and one from the Kumaras. The disciplic succession from Lord Brahma is called the Brahma Sampradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva, Shambhu, is called the Rudra Sampradaya. The one from the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji, is called the Shri Sampradaya. And the one from the Kumaras is called the Kumara Sampradaya. One must take shelter of one of these 4 Sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. In the Padma Purana it is said, Sampradaya vihinaye mantaste nishpala mataha. If one does not follow the 4 recognized disciplic successions, his mantra or initiation is useless. In the present day, there are many apasampradayas, or sampradayas which are not bona fide, which have no link to authorities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, or Lakshmi. People are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principles. So, Srila Prabhupada is here revealing the importance of approaching a bona fide spiritual master through a reliable sampradaya. In the same way that one goes to an accredited university in order to be trained in a particular field of knowledge, one wants to be trained. For instance, in India, it's very famous, the IIT for computer sciences. We have many people in the West coming from India, those who are particularly expert, and they are hired by companies. In Spain, we have many. I have seen in Sweden, in Germany, and in different countries in Europe where I travel. Even I came recently from South America, in Chile and Argentina. Even I met some Indians who went there for work. And they have been trained, many of them, in IIT. So similarly, in order to understand Bhagavata Dharma, to understand what true Dharma is, one must approach as a sampradaya, a reliable sampradaya, as explained in Padma Purana. Srila Prabhupada is revealing the 4 essential sampradayas. And the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is connected to the Brahma Sampradaya through the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Before Lord Chaitanya, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as Vedanta Acharya in our line. And of course, then after Lord Chaitanya, we have also Sri Baladeva Vidya Bhushana. So as we were saying in the beginning, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam begins where Bhagavad Gita ends. Bhagavad Gita ends with full surrender with Bhagavata Dharma. And Śrīmad Bhāgavatam states, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. So Kaitava Dharma or cheating Dharma, that is that religious principle, or sometimes like Dharma is translated as a religion, conventionally, religion, duty, moral order, like that. There are different translations of the term Dharma. And many people, even in India, Punya Bhumi, many people may be misunderstanding what true Dharma is. And that's what's explained here. Like the context of this conversation Yamaraj is having with his assistants, the Yamadutas, who were trying to punish a person who was a criminal, a person who had been cheating, kidnapping people. He was born in a Brahmana family, but he was behaving like a criminal, and he was meant to be severely punished. But because he chanted the holy name of Narayana, in the end, then the Vishnudutas, the messengers of Narayana in the spiritual world, came to rescue him. Even though he didn't intend to directly call God, but he was calling his younger son named Narayana. And the Vishnudutas had a conversation with the Yamadutas, and the Yamadutas they saw that the Vishnudutas were much more powerful. When the Vishnudutas questioned them, what do you understand by Dharma? And then they rightly said, we understand Dharma is that which follows the Vedas. So they were right, but they were too general. Like in Srila Prabhupada frequently will quote from Bhagavad Gita, 15:15, Vedas sarvair ahameva vidya. That through the Vedas, Krishna says, I am to be known. So true knowledge of the Vedas means to know God. And as Srila Prabhupada will put it, also in discussions with people who were not coming from the Vedic tradition, Srila Prabhupada will say that true Dharma, true religion, means to know and to love God. And whatever is called religion, but doesn't teach us how to know and how to love God, that's not true religion. That's Kaitava Dharma, cheating religion. It is like, I don't know if in India you have this. I quote India because I see many of you are from India. Maybe you are in the West, some of you. So it is sometimes when in India, in the West, we had, when I was a child, I was playing one game named the Monopoly. You know Monopoly? Yes, you have it in India as well. And you can buy, no? In around the world, I think it's quite famous. Anyway, it's like a game, how you call table game. People play at home. When I was a child, I was playing with my brothers. And then you buy different streets. I think they have it for different countries. You can buy streets, you can buy properties, and you have money, you have cash, and you can do a whole game there. You can play the business person. So, but if you want to do a business, some of you may be business people. If you want to do a business and you take monopoly money and try to buy a property, what they will tell you, get lost. I mean, give me a break. What are you doing? You want to cheat me? Do you think I am a fool? So similarly, when we follow certain parts of the Vedas without coming to the conclusion of the Vedas, which is full surrender to the Supreme Person, to the Paramapurusha, Yajeta Purusham Param. The Bhagavatam states that one should come to the point, whatever one is, that doesn't matter. Akama sarva kamova, moksha kama udaradhi, tivrena bhakti yogena, yajeta purusham param. One should come to the point of worshipping the Supreme Person with tivrena bhakti yogena, with full bhakti yoga. Very, very focused bhakti yoga, very sincere. The example is Sri Hanuman. Even we find in the Sampradaya of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Narottam Das Thakur, who is a very important acharya in the disciplic succession of Sri Chaitanya, he has stated, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bandha, that actually the path of fruitifaction, even if materially pious, karma, and the path of jnana, knowledge, which is not yet mature, which is devoid of bhakti, of pure surrender, pure devotion to Krishna, these are two pots of poison. And Sri Narottam Das Thakur has stated that Hanuman, he is the best example to follow according to our particular path of bhakti, of devotion, as having Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, very, very focused bhakti, devotional service. And this is what Yamaraj is now instructing his messengers, who were completely bewildered when the Vishnudutas released the sinful in their eyes, the sinful Ajamila. Because they even told the story. They said, but we have here the file of this guy, and this guy, he has been robbing, killing, maybe killing isn't specifically mentioned, but kidnapping is mentioned, and mistreating other people very badly. So this person is extremely sinful, and he was coming from a priestly family. He must be punished. But then the Vishnudata said, no, he's free. He's exonerated. He chanted the holy names of God. So therefore he has been purified. So, of course, as we heard many times, one should not chant only to become purified in the sense of, in a selfish way, but through Bhagavata Dharma or surrender, is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktira Dokshaye Ahaitukiya Pratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. That true Dharma is bhakti, pure devotional service offered in a selfless attitude without expecting anything in return and in a continuous way. So to understand Sanatana Dharma, Bhagavata Dharma, which is actually the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal duty of the self, is not so easy because there are many paths of distraction, even in the Vedas. We may think we are very religious, but if we are not doing it for the pleasure of Krishna and in a selfless attitude, we are not yet situated in Bhagavata Dharma. So maybe I actually went a bit longer. So let's open for questions and comments you like to make. I was told that that the moderator will read the questions, right?
Yes, Maharaj. I'm just devotees can write their questions in the chat box.
Yes, please write your questions.
Maharaj, if you want, you can speak for 10 more minutes because generally devotee starts asking question after 7:45. If you wish to speak more, you have the time, Maharaj.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking. No. Okay, I thought the time went very fast, but I saw the clock in my computer, and in Europe it's half an hour. Okay, I have 20 more minutes. I was thinking how fast it went. Okay, because I couldn't really finish explanation, but I wanted to follow. Okay, it's good. So we have time. Okay, good. So so we were discussing how the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam rejects Kaitava Dharma, and Kaitava Dharma basically means Dharma, Artha, Kama, and even Moksha, which is not maturely understood. Of course, the Bhagavatam states that if Mukti, Moksha, is properly understood, that means to become situated in Bhagavata Dharma, which basically means pure devotional service to Krishna, to the Supreme Person. Of course, to Krishna means Krishna or any of his eternal forms that a devotee may feel naturally attracted to. Like we were discussing about Hanuman. So Hanumanji, his heart is totally focused on Lord Ramachandra. And even if someone will want him, like Srila Sanatana Goswami, his Brihat Bhagavatamrita explains how Hanuman, when Gopakumar went to Dwarka from Ayodhya, Hanuman didn't want to go. He wanted to stay in Ayodhya because Lord Ramachandra is his eternal Ishtadev. So he won't change because that's his eternal relationship. So Bhagavata Dharma means pure devotional service to Krishna or any of Krishna's eternal forms. So the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is revealing. Of course, the Bhagavatam gives a special emphasis to Sri Krishna, like we have from the 335 chapters of the Bhagavatam, 90 chapters are Krishna Lila, the 10th canto. Then this is telling how important Sri Krishna is in Vrindavan and in Mathura and Dwarka. And devotees, according to their natural attraction, may worship Krishna with a particular relationship or natural approach, which unfolds by following the instructions of the Mahajanas, as described in the verses we read today, the great authorities in the process in Bhagavata Dharma, in eternal Dharma. So it is very important that to follow the principle of following the instructions first by listening to the authorities, like we find in Sri Ishopanishad, Itishu Shrumadhiranam Yenastadvichachakshire. So this we heard from authorities. That's the process Srila Prabhupada will explain in many of his lectures. This is called Avaroha Pantha, the path, descending path. So divine knowledge is revealed by the Lord, by his representatives. As opposed to Aroha Pantha, or the path of trying to research without the help of higher authorities. By higher authorities in terms of Bhagavata Dharma, the meaning is those who are fully devoted and fully surrendered to Krishna. Like, for instance, we find in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavamam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. That after many births and deaths, many births cultivating knowledge, a person comes to the conclusion that I must surrender to Krishna. And Krishna he's everywhere. He's in the heart of everyone. He's in every atom of creation. And such a devotee comes to that conclusion, and Krishna states, Samahatma Sudurlabha, that such a person is very difficult to find. So, and this is what is explained here, that the principles of Bhagavata Dharma are very difficult to understand. We may understand theoretically, but to really understand, it means to come to the stage of Bhava Bhakti, or pure consciousness. So, and this is mentioned in today's verse. I think I'll go back to the verse and show the Sanskrit again. Like it is mentioned in the second of the two verses of today, Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham. So it is secret, very confidential, not so easy to grasp. Vishuddham, it means pure consciousness. It is completely pure. Only with pure consciousness it is possible to truly access to what Bhagavata Dharma really is. And it is Durbodham. Durbodham means very, very extraordinary, not so easily to grasp. Srila Prabhupada translates Durbodham, not easily understood. So, but of course, we, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Yuga Avatara. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada describes in the introduction to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, refers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the father of the congregational chanting of the holy name of God, as the preacher of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and as the apostle of love of God. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Yuga Avatara, he is giving so much mercy through his representatives. And therefore, this message of Bhagavata Dharma is spreading all over the world. And this was Srila Prabhupada's mission. He went to America, to the West, to the whole world, but he started with America. He went to the capital of sin, a very sinful city. I don't want to undermine those people who live in New York. If any New Yorkers, please excuse me. But he went to New York. Many sinful activities were already performed big time in New York. They have the Times Square, so big time the sinful activities are performed in such a city. Of course, now we see this all over the world, everywhere. So Srila Prabhupada went there and he had a poster and there was a message, like he was announcing the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam because he was carrying 3 volumes he had printed in India of the first canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. He had about something like, if I remember correctly, around maybe 100 copies or so, 50, 100 copies in 3 different, these metal boxes, I don't know how you call it, like not exactly suitcases, but he was transporting all his Bhagavatam, and he had a poster where Srila Prabhupada was looking very serious, very sober, very, very serious, very reflective, actually even concerned. He was concerned, as Parikshit Maharaj was concerned, for people going to the hellish planets. And he was asking, what can we do to get them released? So Srila Prabhupada was concerned, and he was bringing the medicine, holy name of Krishna, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And it was written something like a message of peace and goodwill, the message of peace and goodwill from India. So I'm paraphrasing. So, and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it was presented, and then his name was there. So the message of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is meant to be distributed so that people will come to the point of understanding Bhagavata Dharma, because this is what it is revealed throughout the different narratives in the Bhagavatam. The eternal Svarup, or constitutional position of the self, is fully revealed to any person who will have the patience of reading and listening to the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and to the Bhaktivedanta purpose presented by Srila Prabhupada. So that person, and of course to the devotees who around the world are presenting the message of the Bhagavatam. So we should listen to the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and we should share Śrīmad Bhāgavatam with others. This is a very easy process, even though it sounds paradoxical. It is very difficult to understand Bhagavata Dharma, but if we listen to the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and we share the message of the Bhagavatam, repeating according to our level of realization whatever we have understood of the Bhagavata Dharma, without deviating, of course. If we deviate, then it won't do. But if we present the message, then naturally that will awaken our original consciousness, and then we will be able to access this transcendental message of the Bhagavatam. And this Bhagavata Dharma is a Panchama Purushartha, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, is a quintessence. I don't know if you have that expression in English. In Spanish language, we have the quintessence means, we say quinta esencia. I was born in Spain. Quinta esencia means, quinta means fifth. So it is the fifth essence. We say quintessence means the highest, the essential truth expressed to the max. Let me see the translation of quintessence in English. 1 second. Yeah, it's quintessence actually, but maybe it's not so used in some countries. So it is even literally truth. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, these four are to be considered, especially the first three, Kaitava Dharma, if they don't aim to full surrender to the Supreme Person, to pure devotional service. And liberation, when it is not properly understood, like the Bhagavatam states, Muktir Hitvanyata Rupam Svarupena Vyavastitihi, that through mukti, liberation, means to become situated in one's svarup, one's eternal constitutional position as eternal servants of Krishna. So this quintessence is prema, pure love of Godhead, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we read in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he taught prema sankirtana, that we should chant Krishna's holy names with prema, with love, in the association of devotees, sankirtana. In this way, we will naturally be able to access this beautiful transcendental experience of Bhagavata Dharma, or pure devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Now we have like 80 minutes or so for questions.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your such a wonderful session. How you explained to us the understanding the principles of Bhagavad Dharma. How you told us, Maharaj, that Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is very specific about what true Dharma is, and true Dharma means full surrender to Lord Krishna. And in order to understand Bhagavad Dharma, one must approach a reliable sampradaya. And how you told us, Maharaj, that when we follow certain parts of Vedas, we should come to the point of full surrender, like Sri Hanuman. And like Sri Hanuman is the best example to follow, as it does very focused devotional service. And Bhagavad Dharma means pure devotional service to Krishna. And that by mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the message of Bhagavad Dharma is spreading to the whole world, and that we should share the message of Bhagavad Dharma without deviation, then naturally it will awaken our original constitution. Maharaj, leave the
Thank you very much. You're a wonderful listener. Thank you very much.
You are a wonderful speaker, Maharaj. You made the whole session you made very easy to understand, Maharaj. And I would just like to repeat some questions devotees have asked. So yeah, the first question is, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. In the age of Kali, this age of Kali is so corrupt, and most of us, at least me, Being born in a demoniac family, how can one know his or her dharma? Secondly, how can we perform our dharma in this dark age?
The first part was, if we are born in a family which is not a family of devotees, then how can we perform dharma? Is that the question?
Yes, yes, Maharaj.
Yes, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam reveals one of the 12 authorities, Mahajanas, great authorities of Bhagavata Dharma, or full surrender to the Supreme Lord, is Prahlada Maharaj. In the 7th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Prahlada Maharaj reveals the 9 processes of Bhakti Yoga. Of course, Bhakti Yoga can be also subdivided in more processes, like, for instance, Srila Prabhupada has presented in chapter 6 of the Nectar of Devotion, 64 principles of Bhakti Yoga. So, but also they can sometimes be presented in nine forms. And Prahlada Maharaj states, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atmani Vedanam. So it is actually very easy. A person can hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, Krishna's holy names, about his form, his transcendental qualities, his divine lila, his divine pastimes. Smaranam, if one hears and chants, then will be possible to remember Krishna, even if one is in a situation where one cannot speak up, because maybe one is working in the company, and if the company, depending how the company is, we may not be able to speak up, to chant loudly, but we may be able to remember Krishna in the court of our hearts. Then Padasevanam. Padasevanam means to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, and that implies to serve the pure devotees who are situated at the lotus feet of the Lord, to serve the spiritual master situated at the lotus feet of the Lord, Srimati Tulasi Devi, also situated at the lotus feet, to visit the holy places who are touched by the lotus feet of the Lord. Like we can go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, Ayodhya, and visit such wonderful holy places. So this is Padasevanam. Archanam, one may worship Krishna in the temple or at home by offering, we can offer whatever we have according to our capability. Srila Prabhupada says, it is not very difficult. Patam pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyuparetam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Even a poor person can offer a flower, a leaf, some water, like even with Ganges water and tulsi leaves. The Lord is so pleased, even more than when we offer big wealth. Of course, that doesn't mean that if we have opulence, we should be misers and not use it in the service of the Lord. But the point is that any person can worship Krishna in the temple or at home. So like that, and there is a whole science about deity worship that one can learn how to worship the Lord with different upacharas or items of worship, whether 16, 64, all the different items of worshiping the Lord. Then Vandanam, one can offer prayers to the Lord. And prayers, we can recite prayers that were sung by great devotees, or one can also speak to Krishna with his own words. Like Srila Prabhupada once in Sridham Mayapur some younger disciples said, but Srila Prabhupada, we are so fallen. How Krishna will listen to us? We are very, very fallen. And Srila Prabhupada very emphatically said, yes, Krishna will listen to you because you are his children. And as a father or a mother, when a child starts babbling the first words, will feel very pleased. Even the child is not speaking anything. Sometimes the child starts saying ba, 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 like that. And then the parents say, oh, it's saying Haribo, Haribo, he's chanting. Or so like that, they see the good in what the baby is starting to speak. So similarly, Krishna, when a devotee starts to speak to him, Krishna becomes very pleased. Even if we speak in simple words. Vandanam then dasyam, to have the inner commitment that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Sakyam, to see Krishna as my friend, to become a friend. And we learn from Sri Sanatana Goswami that Lord Ramachandra, when Gopak Kumar was very respectfully paying too many obeisances to him, the Lord said, don't be so formal. I love you. I belong to you. So to become a friend of the Lord is very pleased with when a soul sees him as his eternal friend and becomes a friend by giving his life to serve him. And Atmani Vedana, surrender with body, words, and mind and soul. So we can, by practicing any of these 9 processes, according to our capability, following the guidance of the spiritual master or of devotees who are, if we are beginners and we didn't commit yet to formally to a spiritual master, but the devotees act as our instructing spiritual masters, Shiksha Gurus, and we can take guidance from more advanced devotees. And in this way, we can practice Bhagavata Dharma. It's actually, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it actually becomes easy. That which is very difficult becomes accessible. And then, of course, maturity may not be so easy because we need to mature. But okay, we are on the path. So it will be okay.
Thank you for your answer, Maharaj. The second question is, in Kali Yuga, what is the best way to know and follow dharma when conditions we live in are in such a contrast? Can just Nama Japa really help us purify our consciousness?
The last part, can what purify our consciousness? The last
Nama Japa, chanting of the holy name.
Nama Japa, yes. Yes, indeed, yes. We have also, there is a very beautiful verse that was spoken by Lord Ramachandra. We find it in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he spoke that verse in relation to Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, who was disgusted by the misbehavior of Ravana. So, and then Vibhishana went to join Lord Ramachandra and to surrender unto him. And Lord Ramachandra, well, when Vibhishana came, there was a whole discussion because some of the generals in the monkey's army, Sugriva and others, they were questioning that he's an enemy. Maybe we should make him a prisoner and we should know what they do in wars, exchange. We say, okay, whether you give us back Sita Devi or we won't give you Vibhishana back. like that. There were different ideas. Some were saying he must be killed. He is part of the demoniac army. He must be killed immediately. He is also responsible for Srimati Sita Devi's being kidnapped, and so on. There were different arguments. And Lord Ramachandra stated, Sakriteva prapanno yas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai tadamyetat vratam mama. And the meaning of the verse is that if a person surrenders unto me, sakrit means once. If a person sincerely comes to me, even once, prapannoyas, and surrenders unto me, saying, Tavasmiti, I am yours, my Lord, I am yours. To that person, I will give courage, always will give courage, and will protect that person. So even though it is a fact that in the contemporary world, which is very much imbued with the anarthas, Srila Prabhupada refers to the 4 sinful activities: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication, as the 4 main anarthas. And that's why he will request devotees who take initiation to refrain from those activities, because these are gross anarthas. But even though we refrain, the atmosphere is so polluted. It's like in the past, people were allowed to smoke. I don't know how it was. In India, may be different. But in the West, this was many years back when I was a young man. But people will smoke in public transport, sometimes even in airplanes. There will be one area for smokers and one area for non-smokers. And then what will happen is that if you will be sitting in the non-smoker area, but close to the smoker area, more or less you will be smoking, because the smoke will come to you, and even you don't want to smoke, but all the smoke comes, and then in the end, when you came out of the public transport, the clothes will smell, isn't it? Those of you who may be a bit mature in age, you may remember that it was like that. Or if we go to a place where it is like that, then we get polluted. So even if we don't smoke, by being closer to where people smoke, we may be affected by the, we could say, the flavor or the contamination. So therefore, we need to take a constant shelter of the Lord, and certainly Nama Japa, chanting, avoiding the different types of offenses, is the most powerful method to remain immune. Like taking a vaccination, like for a particular illness, and so that can protect one. So chanting is like a pure vaccine. Sometimes people question about vaccines. There is sometimes controversy how good they are, depending on who is speaking. So, but the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is a pure, very pure vaccine for the eternal soul from the contamination of Kali. Of course, we need to be very attentive, and we have to also practice the principles of sadachara or Vaishnava behavior, and keep good association. That's very important in order to be strong, to be protected. Otherwise, there is every chance for distraction or deviation, because the world is very crazy in these days. I think even in India, it's becoming crazy. Isn't it in big cities? Or Is it or not?
It is, Maharaj.
No, we have also all the networks and internet, like everything very crazy. Does that answers the question?
Yes, Maharaj, just one last question is there. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known to be very merciful, and even if one is not fully surrendered, Mahaprabhu still accepts, and Mahaprabhu delivers the person with his mercy. But Krishna has this condition that you must surrender without deviation. So, what is the difference between Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as they both are Krishna only? And does it mean that worshipping Sri Chaitanya is the highest form of worship?
Yeah, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna with the heart of Srimati Radharani. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. This is stated by Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami. So he has revealed this truth. And like Srila Prabhupada will say, that when we, even if a person or a devotee is very foolish or very not so qualified, if Srimati Radharani will recommend that devotee, then Krishna will have to accept. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna with the heart of Srimati Radharani. Krishna putting himself, so to say, on the side of Srimati Radharani. So, and therefore he's particularly merciful. So we worship Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then of course we worship Sri Radha Krishna, because that's the instruction and the revelation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We come closer to Radha Krishna in Vrindavan by approaching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pure devotees, his servants.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj, we understood. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for giving us your valuable association and for making this today's topic very easier for us to understand. I hope we all will take these points in our heart and will try to apply it in our daily lives, and we will try to understand the Bhagavad Dharma. So everyone can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a gratitude for Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Nandana Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji.
Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna.